I got a little story to tell you. I was reminded of this story just now. I was walking along and I was listening to Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. And it brought back, as I was listening to it, it brought back a memory. I don't know where this memory came. So long ago. I was in my early 20s and I was camping in a very primitive campsite out in the Mojave Desert somewhere. And I don't even remember where. And they're just absolutely in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know how these two British young guys managed to find that same campsite. It was an unlikely place for anyone traveling that didn't know the desert to find. But they did. And must have been on a map. Anyway, they were camped in a little primitive site next to me, and I was there. And somehow in the middle of the night, or in the evening, we wound up around the same campfire and had a great old time with those two guys. Really neat guys. And we ended up in a friendly argument about basically American rock and roll versus European rock and roll, specifically British rock and roll. And that was back in a time when I was much younger and much more proud of my arguments and had a much greater attachment to them. And somewhere through the argument, I made the colossal mistake of using Led Zeppelin as an example of American rock and roll. And those guys looked at each other and they turned to me and they said, "But hey, Kurt, Led Zeppelin's a British band." I mean, they had me. They had me in my rights. And here's what the point is. The story is that I struggled so hard to try and recover from that. That's not what I meant. I meant in the spirit of Led Zeppelin, bands that were like Led Zeppelin, American bands like Led Zeppelin. Let's take, for example, the Bachman-Turner Overdrive, for example. It was just a pitiful attempt. And it was a lie. I was embarrassed. My pride got in the way, and I didn't want to be a fool in front of these guys. And then they saw right through it, and we moved on to some other topic. They were nice enough not to hold me over my feet over the flames. But the point is that at that point in my life, making such an error and having my argument be shown to be wrong, which I was wrong in my point I was making. I can't remember what the whole point was, but I remember I was wrong, but I didn't want to confess it. That was important to me then. And I've changed a lot since then. Something like that happens now. I like to think that I simply laugh and say, "Whoa, well, I guess, so much for that argument." And that's something that happens, I think, over time as we get older. Our egos become less involved with the ideas that we have, and we can move forward looking for perhaps what's simply the right answer, regardless of whether it was our proposition or not. I like to think so, at least. Fun memory brought on by a nice evening walking along listening to Stairway to Heaven. Hope you guys have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.